And welcome back. Our second segment this morning is with the Sprite Basketball Cup representative. I say representative because Douglas Hyde is here with us this morning to talk all about this particular initiative. No, before we even get into it, Doug, I must say that personally, I am honored that it is being named after my dear friend William Dawson.
Yeah.
That's the first. I just wanted to put that there so you know where my heart is, where that is concerned, right? So let's talk about this year's tournament, what we can expect, and how involved the Belize Police Department is, as always, with this particular initiative.
Firstly, let me say thank God for the opportunity and being here on Channel 5. As always, it's a pleasure to share our events and activities. Let me recognize and say good morning to our Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Caye Musa, Commissioner, Deputy Commissioners, Assistant Commissioners, and all our senior officers and rank and file of the police department across the country. The William Dawson Sprite DJ Youth Basketball Tournament 2023. We've come a long way. We started off in 2015, 2016, when it was birthed by Commissioner when he took over Eastern Division. As you mentioned earlier, Sprite Cup. It was called then because Sprite and DJ was the first two who came on board, and Sprite pushed that they wanted it to name Sprite Cup. And we started off with 6 teams. Never forget that. And the idea was to bring these different neighborhoods together to compete against each other. Commissioner was looking at alternatives, methodologies, strategies to work in these different neighborhoods, trying to bring the gangs together. And so when we met with the leaders, they suggested sports. I don't know much about other sports, but I know about basketball. I've played many years, and I've played at the highest level too. And so immediately he put myself along with Elver Kakamo, who was in charge of the commander in charge of community policing back then. And we had to plan and flesh out the concept. We did. And when we did that first year, it was a trial and error. And 2015, 2016, we kick it off again. We move on to 8 teams. We finished that. 2017, we move on to 10. And we did 2018, 2019, which we had a real successful year. Unfortunately, COVID came in, and we were on a lull for 2 years. 2022, the government of the day changed in looking at the whole concept of how to approach crime and violence. And that was the multi-sectoral approach concept came into play, and a leadership intervention unit, who then, our good friend and colleague, William Dawson, was the chairman of that. And I remember this clearly because they had this big meeting in Belmont Pond at the commissioner's office with all ministries and different agencies to discuss strategies, looking at, again, ways to get these guys involved and stuff. And Commissioner suggested our tournament. Remember, we went on a lull. And so the return of the Sprite Cup came back to life. Minister Kareem, Minister Ferguson were the first two to champion this initiative. And I remember clearly they called me into the meeting and to discuss more likely what and how we'll do it. And I told them instant, this is fun for me. So I am on the board. We went from 10 to 15 teams. We met with all the different neighborhoods. For the first time, we actually had villages involved, which was Ladeville, Hattieville, and Mahogany Heights. We started with those 15 teams in 2022, and we finished the tournament with those 15 teams. It was the first time having a high results of that. The Sprite Cup was renamed then at the meeting to Live Life. And we carried that, and we actually did some changes. We actually had, for the first time, an All-Star Day, which we had celebrities participating with the guys in the tournament. We also dubbed it Team Kareem versus Team Chester, which was again a catching thing because it was like, all right, Team Karim they come versus Team Chester, and I made sure that it was very competitive too. And Chester lost by 4 points, by the way, right? So, but the guys appreciated it, and I never forget this. Before he got ill, William and I was discussing 2023 before we even finished the tournament of 2022, and when we completed 2022, he was like, 2023 will be bigger and better. The results of the guys coming together, we saw great dynamics change in the whole tournament, which lasted 5.5 months. And with the discussion with the teams were, let's do this again. I was happy that in this year, 2023, we kick off the year saying we want to do this. But unfortunately, William passed away in January. And in that whole process, which many of us, especially me, because if he was alive, he would have been right there next to me right now discussing this initiative. Commissioner sat with me again and said, let's do this year in his honor. Let's do this remembering William for the many support and also for his dedication to these guys. And he was one of those who said, one of the best approach to work with the guys from the streets is through intervention, through sports. And I totally supported it, and we push it. So this year, the name of the tournament is the William Dawson Sprite Basketball Tournament. And I'm proud of that because we now have something to even build on, to carry on. We've made many changes in terms of the team numbers now. We've moved from 15 teams to 24 teams this year.
Wow.
We have now...
That's a complete schedule.
Yeah.
Wow.
In terms of the persons who participated, we used to have 8 persons per team. Now we have the full roster. In terms of locations, now we have teams like Sand Hill now is on board. We have Boom team, we have our Gracie Rock team. So we have 5 teams from the villages adding on to the city teams, which is 19 of them. So now I smile and I talk about it to the guys because the villages are getting more involved. And so it's like the urban versus the rural now. Last year, Hattieville came in 3rd, representing the villages, which was a good game likewise too. In terms of the prizes, we've raised the prize. First prize is $4,000, second prize $3,000, and third prize is $2,000. And we also, in terms of the guys, the life skills component, it's not just basketball, but we also have the Department of Youth Services along with community rehab, trained social workers and youth workers who will work with these guys every Saturday on topics very related to the whole tournament, whether it be sportsmanship, anger management, conflict resolution. These are trained personnel will work with them in group setting, but also looking at ways to move forward. You know, so if there's for example, if there's a issue before the game, these social workers, youth workers will work with them on that level and after the game.
Let me pause for a second there, Doug, and perhaps talk a bit about the landscape, so to speak. So, while in Belize City, we have 19 teams that are going to be, who have signed up, that are going to be participating. These 19 teams come from various neighborhoods. Some are rival neighborhoods and what have you. I wouldn't say as much that the other village teams, you know, have any kind of enmity or what have you. So I'll pause on that part of it for the time being, but let's look at Belize City, for instance, right? Say, for instance, you have a Yabra team going up against a Lake Independence team, and there's known to be a history of rivalry between these two neighborhoods. What does a young man walk away with engaging in this type of activity, knowing that, you know what, it's an opportunity to mend fences in some cases. It's an opportunity to see Belize City beyond the neighborhood that they're locked into. Because a lot of times, you know, you can't cross Mahogany Street, you can't cross Beringrong Bakayabra, so on and so forth. And you don't really get to experience Belize City the way the normal or the ordinary person would. What does one walk away with?
They walk away with a lot, I should say. The opportunity to play in this tournament really opens a lot of opportunities and a lot of ways. Let me start off by saying that these guys have agreed to cross borders, to open doors, to open their hearts to this tournament. And I share with them the sentiment of what you put in and what we are putting likewise. So if we don't put in the peace and the calm, we are big up this tournament to the level where it should be. Let me recognize that we have a lot of talented, skilled basketball players in our country, a lot of good athletes. Many of them may not get the opportunities and may not have the opportunity, like what you said, to move around. This tournament gives them that opportunity, but also it creates an avenue for them to communicate with each other that they didn't do before. The only communication they have is through violence. So if I know you come after me last night, I'll come back after you sometime. Here's an opportunity that we can mend that fence. The tournament creates that door where these individuals not only play against each other, but they come in to compete, but to talk to each other. We saw in 2022 deep discussion and communication with leaders, but also with rivals, which never happened before. And we were very excited to see that, but we were very careful because we know that in Belize that some days or sometimes it's calm. And then in a second and two, the heat is on. But we've also saw that some of these guys recognize that they are not in that level. And many of the leaders will tell you, they are not in that crossfire. They are trying their best to keep the calm. What is happening is some of the younger ones who basically don't want to listen and decide to say, yeah, what, we don't care, we are still, but the carrot and stick approach is here, where we are creating the opportunity to work with these individuals. But also the next arm of the police department is there to deal with those who want to create mischief or commit themselves. And there's no if and about that we have no remorse, or we are not going to hold back to those who want to, the small handful who want to keep the country like, yeah, that they want to control it. But we want to support the many who gets up every day and say, you know what, I want to do something better in my life. I want to, and the walk away for this is the bragging rights. You know, after you win 6 months tournament, you have bragging rights for 6 more months, you know. And what happened to this, the champions of 2022, which was the Hard Rock Boys, went in the national tournament for Sports Council, and they won that too. So they have that bragging rights to show that we could do this, and so that motivate the other teams in the tournament to say, yeah, we could also compete at higher level. Not to take away that some of our guys have moved on to the elite level. At least no less than 10, 15 players have stepped up to different teams in the elite level.
So this also works as a stepping stone to
greater things. So there's a lot of walk away from it, and I'm happy that we have also seen that some of their families are involved. The games have attracted community, they have attracted their families to come and to support. So when some of them come, see here comes their girlfriend, their kids coming to see them. One of the guys showed this out in one of our sessions. He said, you know what? You see my jersey, you see my medals? These are for my kids, because when I'm not around, they will wear that. They will remember my dad was part of this. That's a big walk away.
I want to segue now to introduce Barry NOWLIN. He is a sponsor of this particular tournament. Good morning, Mr. NOWLIN.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Talk to us, Mr. NOWLIN, about your interest in sponsoring an event like this.
Well, I'm the manager at St. George's Caye Resort, and I first got involved in community service with Rotary and the Youth Mentorship Program. That's how I met Doug Hyde. And from that, it evolved to last year, 2022, when we were putting the basketball tournament together. Doug was pioneering that, and I was very interested, so I was involved to donate, raise monies, work with it from our business, sponsorship, community service, caring about the children of Belize, the future, and also the excitement of doing something that puts us directly involved with what we call the street, our neighborhoods, where we live, your address.
Yeah.
So last year was phenomenal. It was tremendous experience, I think, for everyone, including the athletes, the families. And it was just such a tremendous impact. It moves the heart. And seeing people, Belizeans, the neighborhoods, react, respond. An athlete going down the court and hearing his daughter go, "Daddy, daddy, daddy," and he does this. It goes in and scores a bucket. And those things excite me, and also my staff and the company, the Rotarians. It's what we do. Is our community service is valuable to us, and this is one of the projects we believe in truly. So we're involved again this year in 2023. So
What I want to touch on is the sense of pride that I imagine these participants have being a part of a project like this. I have interacted with persons that are also a part of gangs and, you know, at least trying to be reformed gang members, I'd say that much. And there's a cry from them to be recognized in positive activities. So I love that you mention where a person that is, you know, playing a sport, or the sport here, playing the ball, and, you know, a child, their child saying, you know, "Daddy, daddy," that's something that they want to be recognized for as well. So I completely, I'm proud to see this activity spread out such a long time span and see it grow as well from 6 to 24 teams. Can you talk to us about some of the feedback from the teams, from the communities, from the streets that partake, on the impact itself that it has on them just to be a part of something positive and be recognized for that?
That's deep. That's really deep. You know, in planning and coordinating this tournament, the communities that have reached out to me saying that we want the tournament coming up we year at all has been amazing. The concept was to go to these different neighborhoods and compete in their basketball courts. And first, it was not looked at positively because, of course, they're dealing with gang members and dealing with gang areas. You have to worry about this, you have to worry about that. I'm very thankful for the police officers who work in this tournament and the police department who have literally assisted in making sure that safety and security is paramount. You know that we pick up the guys from the different neighborhoods, we take them to the games, and then when the games are finished, we take them back to their community. The safety is paramount for us, but also looking at the community's participation is important. You know, when a team is playing for that community, the community comes out. And we've seen it in several neighborhoods that we have the competition.
Can you look at Mahogany Street, for
Yeah,
instance?
yeah, the turnout was huge.
Amazing.
But I remember this last year when we did Green. For the first time during a day, we see no less than 300 persons were there. And the feeling was, man, we need to do this again.
Yeah.
The community buy-in, the community turnout is very important. We need to do more of this for these communities. It's too much negativity sometimes that is settled within these communities.
And they express it.
And some of them see it, you know, that they want better.
Yeah.
They deserve better. We have a lot of talented young men and females that wants to do good in their community. Is that we need to create that avenue, that opportunity for them to show and shine. The tournament gives some of these guys the opportunity. The skills that we see in this tournament is at the highest level. We see guys playing their hearts and soul out. Not on these high-tech NBA basketball court. We have cement courts. And I'm telling you, the way how these guys play, they're at NBA level. The ability to do the things that they do. And if they were here talking, they will tell you they put their heart and soul. They will get up, they work out, they try their best to do positive. It's just sad that some of these communities were created to have rivalry against each other. And I said that because it's not all these community that these guys want to have beef against each other. I think sometimes it's just the reality, the situation that creates that you have and I don't have. And so because you have and I don't have, I want to go after you. And we've seen that many times when it comes to the whole drugs play, that because of drugs, involvement and money control power, these guys want it. And of course, if you have it, why won't I want it from you? And if you as a leader, why won't I want to come to you as a leader to take away your power to make I hold the seat for you on time? And so what we've done is to try to take that away, that if we can find many avenues otherwise than seeing that gang is a powerful structure group, but showing that we have other ways to show that there's positivity in terms of power that these guys can get. For example, the training, the education, the other activities that can enhance them to build better men of our country is what is more important. You mentioned just now in terms of their family. No funny. No one and kids say they're part of their past. All of them will tell you, my kids, I want to learn something positive because I don't want them to go through what I went through. And so this is one positive thing for them to showcase with their kid in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
And you can see the pride, you can see the dedication and commitment when these guys are there and their kids, their kid is around supporting them. And I sometimes I get emotional about it because we didn't have it before.
Yeah.
You know, and now we have it, and that's something good. I must say that the partner agencies, National Sports Council, the directors of both youth and sport are very much my partners in support, along with community rehab, city council, who works very closely in making sure that, for example, we need the neighborhoods to get cleaned up.
Yeah.
City council come in and they did that clean up for us. We need basketball courts to get fixed because, as you know, some of these places have been neglected for a while. High grown bushes, the backboard, they dropped down, the rims, then they broke up. This tournament again looks at these things. So we assess, we put the numbers together, we pass it to the individuals and say, listen to me, we need to fix this place. If we are having a competition to go in a certain neighborhood, we need to uplift the venue. We've done that. We've fixed a couple of these basketball courts, painting, changed some of the rims. In fact, the Kings Park basketball court that we will opening in the tournament this Friday, we've actually designed a new backboards with the William Dawson brand, with William being there on the backboards itself.
Nice.
That is not our brand that we want to take away from Sprite and nothing away from Amadia,
Yeah.
but we want to have our brand now
Yeah.
with our tournament, which is something different, something new again. And we're happy about that because, again, we want to bring, as what you asked before, what is the takeaway? The tournament will finish in November. When the tournament finish, we'll have places that people will continue to go and play. And they will see the backboards, they will see the jerseys, they will see these guys continue to uplift themselves positively, and we feel proud of ourselves, the outcome and results of the tournament.
Can I speak to that?
Yes.
Sure.
I'd like to talk about the other side of it, which is every weekend last year, building on what Doug just mentioned, of all the bureaucracy and the efforts of others, is the neighborhood impact. You mentioned pride, fairness, respect. And every weekend, countless weekends, the tournament's done, ball's finished, we've pulled off, neighborhood people are still hanging around, the backboards are repaired, the court's functional, and until dusk or we leave, children are playing on that court. Neighbors are sitting around talking to each other. It's very much a social, community-based gathering. And I think that, as Xperience, is tremendous because it is pleasant for everyone. And that builds the infection and the word of mouth that says, what happened? What went on last weekend in Hyateville? Said, it was amazing, da-da-da. We won. And the families were out. They had food to serve. And the kids played till dark once we were done. They're going, where is it going to be next weekend? Yarborough. And that's something that really fires us up and
Fosters a
motivates
sense of
us.
community.
And we share that because it's not just us excited and fired up. It's the group. And I'm seeing things that are wonderful that I didn't think I would not see, but I believe in these neighborhoods. I believe in the people, all ages, who are serious about wanting to participate and wanting to do it with some trust and pride. And we support that 100%.
Wonderful.
It's amazing, believe me, and right now I'm just enjoying the moment, but I know it's a lot of work. Believe me, it's a lot of work. I'll tell you, doing these tournaments or doing these programs, because Commissioner, I know he has a lot of trust and a lot of energy built in me in terms of getting these things done. But these are a lot of work. These programs, whether it be the youth mentorship or this tournament, and because how it has grew from these small numbers to these big numbers, it takes a lot in planning and coordinating. But I also have to recognize that this year we've created a working group committee, which involve police officers and civilians and different persons, whether it be business or community persons, to be on the committee to assist in the whole coordination and direction of the tournament. We have persons like Ms. Cheryl Saldiva, Dr. Caye, learner. We have Dr. Rosado, Deputy Commissioner. And these are people, again, who take their time out to be on part of it. Barry sit as the vice chair. And then we have the LIU representative. We have community policing representative, a representative from the referees, the desk officials. Very important that we have those persons around the table to share their ideas likewise and what they feel what we need to adjust and what we need to basically change. It's very good that they get a chance to a platform to discuss, because some people will think it's just go out there and play basketball.
Yeah.
William always mentioned this, that it's more than basketball. Yes, we see the guys competing, but the work before that is what is interesting. Yeah. Geovani Blackett is on board. He comes with a boost of energy likewise, and he comes with ideas likewise to support the initiatives, and I'm happy that he's part of the team, working from the LIU likewise too, and he's a big support. I want to recognize our sponsors if I can.
Yes, please do.
Sprite DJ, two of our long sponsors. I cannot take away from the commitment from them. Digi come back on board this year with us, and I'm very thankful because they were out for a couple of years, so they're on board. We have the Ministry of National Security, Ministry of Home Affairs, sorry, Minister Karim, who've literally given his dedication and support along with Minister Ferguson Rodwell, and now we also have Minister Henry Charles Usher, who is a big supporter of the tournament. Social Security, David Zabane, Abner Morio, Rotary Club of Belize. We have St. George's Key Resort, Ministry of Youth and Sport, Phoenix Foundation, Dolphin Production. These are the persons who really they help carry through simple things like this for means. We need equipment, basketball, you know, the jerseys, which believe me is not cheap. 24 set of 12. That not easy, but it's not just on white and black jersey, it's different colors. Again, we trust, we build on not the red and blues no more, so different colors. Like I remember last year champions, people like, what, this bright pink team? And nobody never say, oh, nobody never pick the bright pink. And
they were proud
guess
of
who
it.
win the bright pink? And they were proud of their jerseys. And when you
Absolutely
mentioned
nothing wrong
The
with it.
underdogs.
when you mentioned
The underdog color.
when you
It's true.
mentioned to Isani, what is the takeaway? You know, these guys use their jersey everywhere and anywhere. And I'm proud of that. When I would drive around or walk around in some of these communities and see these guys have on their jersey, I'm proud of having on their jersey.
Because it means something to them.
And in other competition, they use the jerseys as part of their team getting together and stuff. And I'm happy of those opportunities that we've created. The police department is very dedicated to this. The commissioner, he supports this 100%, along with our other senior officers. This Friday, 3 p.m. at the Lopez Mateos Park, there in Kings Park community. It's going to be a big afternoon where we have the opening ceremony to officially launch this tournament. We also have 2 big games. The 2 games that I have played out is that the rematch of last year's finals. So we have the police who will play against the Hard Rock team, and then we have Hattieville who will play against Complex. Complex came in second, Hard Rock was first, and Hattieville came in third. So we have the rematch of these games, but we switch it up because we want to make sure that the competition starts with a bang. And then from Friday, we go straight into it the next day, which is May 6th, the Saturday, with no less than 12 games. Because Kings Park is unique with 2 basketball courts, we will have 6 games on court A, 6 on court B. And every week, every Saturday, we play in Kings Park and other areas in Belize City and the villages. So like after the way how I structured it is 2 weeks at Kings Park. The 3rd week we go in a different neighborhood in Belize City, and the final week we travel to a village. So we go to Hattieville first, then Sand Hill, then Mahogany Heights, and we go back to the different neighborhoods in the city. So the guys get a sense of the villages, but also the different neighborhoods in the city. And we are happy to see that they enjoy that too, because again, they're asking for that. They want to go to the villages, they want to play in their community likewise. I remember the guys from Euphrates, George Street. They completely asked, so can we get out of all these weeks 1 day at our court? I say, you're serious? They say, yes, man, we want to play that free court. Why? Because we want community come support. So this is very important, and we support that. So I'm very grateful for the tournament. I'm very grateful for all those who support and sponsor it.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for joining us and talking to us about the William Dawson Sprite Digi Cup. We are excited to see all the teams come out and play, and to hear feedback from you guys as usual on what an excellent year it will be. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
We'll see you at the games.
Yes.
Certainly.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be having our 3rd and final segment. Xperience Church will be joining us to talk about their show, Redeeming Youth.